I always laugh when men tell other men not to get married. My first naive reaction is, great, leave women alone. We're tired of the violence and exploitation that comes from relationships and marriage anyway. But then I remember when men say, don't get married, they don't mean stop extracting from women. They just mean stop giving women legal or financial protections in return. They present it like a warning, protect yourself, bro. But it's actually a reaction to women gaining rights and protections in marriage. Because when you look into why they're upset, it's almost always because they don't want to compensate the woman they were building a life with. When men say, don't get married, they're not rejecting women, they're rejecting accountability. They still want sex, companionship, caretaking, children, emotional support, domestic labor, etc. But they no longer want to risk legal or financial consequences if things end. Basically, exploitation without a paper trail. Historically, marriage benefited men immensely, but the moment courts start asking men to pay back a fraction of what women invested, suddenly marriage is a scam. This tweet is a perfect example. You're mad that half your income goes to child support and alimony? First of all, not getting married won't absolve you from child support. You created that child, you have a parental responsibility. And frankly, most women will tell you that the average child support payment doesn't even come close to what it actually costs to raise a child. 9 times out of 10, the woman is doing everything: feeding, cleaning, caring, scheduling, school runs, doctor visits. She's on a 24/7 shift. Meanwhile, he's not parenting, he's just paying the bare minimum to offset his absence, and still complaining. As for alimony, that's a court saying. This woman invested years of unpaid labor, and she deserves not to leave the marriage worse off than she entered it. That's not injustice, that's a minimum baseline of fairness. Most men don't actually oppose marriage. They oppose the idea that a woman should walk away with anything after dedicating her life to making his possible. Because when you break it down, marriage has historically been a state-sanctioned vehicle for extracting free labor from women: domestic labor, emotional labor, sexual labor, reproductive labor, contraceptive labor. If you wanted to outsource all of that, you'd have to pay. But with a wife, it's all inclusive. So when men tell other men, don't get married, it's just resentment that the legal system has finally started catching up and asking, did she sacrifice her time, her body, her career, her sanity? Then pay her what she's owed. If men were truly done with women, they'd disappear. But they're still everywhere, dating, flirting, proposing, procreating, but this time just hoping to avoid any formal systems that demand reciprocity. Even when they reject marriage, they still want everything else. They're still on dating apps, still approaching women, still trying to fuck, still trying to have kids, still trying to build legacies. They want all the benefits of a wife without any of the reciprocity. So yeah, when I hear men tell other men, don't get married, I do celebrate for a second, but then I remember they're not saying they want to leave women alone. They're saying they want to use women without consequence. The war on women starts at home. As a woman, you are 6 to 7 times more likely to be killed by your husband than by a stranger. In the US, 1 in 3 women have experienced physical violence by an intimate partner, and every 6 hours, a woman is murdered by her current or former male partner. After marriage, men's mental and physical health improves, but yours as a woman declines. Married women are more likely to be depressed than single women, while the reverse is true for men. And that's not all. Women who date men carry double the domestic workload, even when working full-time. We also do 70 to 80% of the emotional labor, the planning, the nurturing, the reminding, the checking in. To make it worse, marital rape is still legal in nearly 50 countries, and in many parts of the world, the law actively protects men who beat and harm their wives. Everything I've just said is fact, not opinion. Statistically, most heterosexual relationships harm women, not just emotionally, but physically, economically, and existentially. Sure, some women date men and thrive, but for best results, assume it's not you. So when we talk about patriarchy, we're not just talking about policies or politicians, we're talking about your boyfriend, your husband, your situationship, because the relationships we have, especially with men, shape the quality of our lives. And most of those relationships have been designed to harm women and make us shock absorbers for male dysfunction, including you, whether you admit it or not. If you're a woman who dates men, whether single or married, you have to take daily intentional steps to stay rooted in your power. Because in a system built to suppress women, your survival and your joy depend on how aggressively you stand up for yourself. No one is coming to save you. Well, except me. I send out a daily feminist relationship tip to help you date men without dimming yourself. They're short, sharp, and deeply practical. Texts for women who still want love, but refuse to suffer for it. Whether you're single or married, you'll find them useful, and if you actually put these tips into practice, you'll begin to watch your relationship become a space where you're not just loved, but respected, centered, and free. Use the link in my bio to join, and you'll get one message every morning.